Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
We All Be News and Radio and TV is proud to have our brother Cleo Manago, social architect, same gender-loving activist, and founder of two renowned national organizations, Memphis Health and Cultural Centers, and also CEO and founder of Black Men's Exchange. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, but I have to correct something or at least bring questions or something. I noticed just this morning when seeing your promotion of the show that you had me listed as a same gender loving activist. Where'd you get that from? And why did you get that, have that particular framing?
Well, I got it from something that you said. I know you coined the phrase where I got from reading articles online. Same gender loving activist. I believe it was the Huffington Post article written by Irene Morgan.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll just say this: calling me a same gender loving activist, if indeed you're heterosexual, which I assume you are, would be like calling you a heterosexual activist. And I don't think that's how you see yourself, do you?
Oh, no, sir. I am a heterosexual, of course. But
right, but your sexuality is not central to your activism and how you present yourself in the world. It's hello, here I am, the heterosexual activist. Right.
Oh, of course not. It's not part of my moniker, but I was getting what was read what I got off of
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm very into particularly when it comes to me, because it's been sometimes there's so much misinformation, and I'm not, particularly when I'm not involved in how I'm presented. And no, in the article that was written by Irene Monroe, she wrote that article. She wrote all kinds of stuff, including calling me a dangerous gay man or some crap. And that's the press. I don't know how much you've been written about in the press or where you are a public figure, but you can't control how people, once you are called a so-called public figure and folks decide to subjectively up and write about you, you can't control their agendas and how they frame you. Yeah. But as the person we're talking about, I just want to make it real clear that I do not go around calling myself a same-gender-loving activist. I am a same-gender-loving person, just like you're a heterosexual person, but social architect, black community activist, black affirmation specialist, behavioral health expert. Those are the things that I reference myself as. So I just want to make that clear.
Okay, I appreciate that actually, because we all talk about. I know I met you a couple weeks ago in Lithonia, Georgia, under the auspices of Cynthia McKinney, calling us together to do something in terms of the black people. And I really appreciate that, because one thing, as far as being a black person, a black man, we should be concerned about self-determination. And it's like that you are very much involved in controlling self-determination, your self-determination, how you are viewed in spite of all the powers that be, correct?
Exactly, and since you referenced the Cynthia McKinney meeting, we all got up and introduced ourselves, and I introduced myself, and I didn't say nothing about being no same-gender-loving activist.
You know what? It's true though. Also, there was an area of concern too, because I know you left early because you had to meet with family, but some people raised
2 hours early, to be specific. 2 hours early.
2 hours early.
I had been there starting at 9 o'clock in the morning for 2 days, but I did miss 2 hours. And apparently somebody behind my back, when I wasn't there, who saw me leave, because he was sitting in the lobby watching me leave, talked about me when I was gone.
Okay, he brought it up, but nobody mentioned you directly. He didn't mention you directly, the person you
I know. I know the whole thing, but I mean, he didn't have to mention me directly, and the person who did mention my name was not going to keep it in the abstract, because why should he? But he was talking about me, and not that the show is about that, but I ain't playing no games. He went around actively talking about me to individual people, saying my name. But when he went to Isa and some other people saying my name and pointing his finger at me. But when he got into the public forum, he referenced his concern inspired by me, but frankly didn't have the courage to say my name as somebody else did.
Okay, I know.
Those are the facts.
I was there. People were. I mean, it was an area of concern. I think people were concerned about were you misrepresenting yourself, or was there a hidden agenda? I think
right, and see, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And see, and I hope this conversation that we're having here and that we're going to have tomorrow, that people have the courage and the focus and the integrity to set up a same kind of discussion face to face.
Right.
Because I really regret that homeboy waited until I left on purpose, in my opinion, to start this so-called controversy, because I resent any kind of implication that there's anything hidden. Like, you didn't walk in there with your dick out hollering that you were a heterosexual. Does that mean that you were hiding it?
No,
were you hiding anything? No, you weren't hiding anything.
Yeah.
That wasn't the focus of the damn meeting. The meeting was not about my sexuality. The meeting was about addressing and countering forces in this world, including foreign policy, that are destroying black people. That's the focus of the meeting. So all this hidden stuff, I can't wait to address the people that had the balls to say it outside of my presence. It's a bunch of crap.
And the person you refer to, I guess we got to be transparent because we don't want to. He said,
Ayo.
Yeah, right.
Look, unlike him, I don't mind saying no names. I ain't no coward over here. I'll say whatever I have to say, no problem. Face to face, even.
Yeah, we talking about Brother A.L. War on the Horizon out of D.C., also known as the Irritated Genie. Now, I did extend an invitation for him to come on to discuss these issues that we're going to talk about on the Sunday show, but I haven't heard back from his people. I think he declined doing the debate or doing a discussion panel thing, but I haven't heard back from his people if he's ever going to address the issue on this platform. But also, I mean, we talking about the media, and I'm going to ask you this: would you consider yourself a black nationalist?
I don't know, and please let me be clear when I say that. My work is driven by what I've observed and my concerns. When it comes to these different types of labels and stuff, I really don't know. I've never sat down and said, Cleo, you're a black nationalist. When I reference myself as a critical thinker, a person who believes in cultural affirmation and unpacking all of the threats to black health, well-being, and long life and independence and sovereignty. Now, if all that stuff fits under black nationalists, I have no problem with that. But I don't know. I mean, some of these people that call themselves black nationalists are crazy. And I don't know if I want any association with them because they play games like the people we just got finished talking about, in my opinion. So I don't know. But I'm not offended by the title, no. If it means that you're about affirming, uplifting the black nation, I guess I fit in that, but I really don't know.
I mean, the reason I say that because I think you're a very fascinating individual. You're a complex person like a lot of us are, but the fact that the work that you're doing, you bring attention to a lot of interesting issues. Because it seems like from what I'm reading and from the interviews I see you have done, that you have actually been that you are attacking or rather confronting actual practices of racism and white supremacy within the LGBT community, correct? There are issues.
Well, let me put that in context, and I'm not trying to be wordy or argumentative. I just like things to be clear. My focus is not the LGBT community. See, just to be clear, the conversation that you and I are having now, just like the conversation I had last week with Isa, was initiated external from me. I didn't say, please, let's talk about homosexuality. Let's do that. I didn't initiate these conversations. Other people initiate these conversations.
Right.
Those interviews that you saw, those articles that you read were from people who initiated wanting to address those issues with me, and I said yes. Now, if you do vast research on me, you'll see all kinds of stuff. As a matter of fact, if you did a calculation of what I personally initiate as a topic, you will rarely see so-called LGBT issues as homosexuality issues. I'm willing to address that issue. I can address it well. I have no problem addressing it. But when I do address it, just like today, it's usually not me initiating having that discussion. Now, getting back to your question about LGBT, LGBT, like the Democratic Party, like the academic system in this country, like the religious system in this country, is a white supremacist construct. LGBT is the homosexual version of white supremacy. It's another part of the whole mosaic of white supremacist contexts that impact black life and culture. So yes, I have been addressing that, and I have been doing something that does have a same-gender loving focus that's relevant to the black community. It might be why sometimes people always focus with that on me. one of my concerns among many is that the black community historically has acted like same-gender loving people don't exist, or have been adversarial or combative or judgmental or in some cases abusive. Now, none of that has stopped same-gender loving people from existing at all. Homosexual black folks are still existing and constantly being born. But the long-term tendency to ignore or abuse or marginalize has had very, very horrendous impact that has helped white supremacy. Because a lot of same-gender loving people who don't have no breathing room in their own family go run into white folks. And no matter what your sexuality is in this country, you've seen the doll test where black children keep picking the white doll. No matter what your sexuality is in this country, we are all trained to be white supremacists. So with that pre-existing training to be a white supremacist, then you're a same-gender loving person in a black community context where you want nurturance and love and then you ignore it. Well, that pre-existing seed that's been planted for you to be a white supremacist is exacerbated. Then you go run into white folks and become a Trojan horse against black people's empowerment. That's happened a whole lot over the years. A lot of black people have run up into that LGBT stuff and are resentful toward the black community and have been adversarial against the black community. Part of my work has been trying to stop that.
And speaking of something, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's all. I just want to make sure that's where some kind of LGBT whatever does come into context with my work.
Well, you do. It is like a lot of black focus, black consciousness in your work in terms of you form these organizations like Amasi and also the Black Man's Exchange. And, you know, like you said, you can't help what the media label you as, but if I'm viewing it from a white supremacist mindset and perspective, you are looked at as maybe a black supremacist within the community. Because, like, you know, I'll just think about, I'll say this, let me just say this, because, like, I know that you actually spoke at the Million Man March, correct?
Right.
And, I mean, so you did things with the nation. You recognize the Nation of Islam. Also, your organization, Black Man Exchange, is already at the level or at the level of recognition as the NAACP is after 100-something years. So I mean, you have did some incredible things. Not that I like that comparison.
Oh,
I know. But I'm saying the fact that you are recognized though within like 20-something years of this founding your organization in '89,
right? And
you have been labeled, and I know I want to get your take on this. They have called you, like you said, Irene Moreau's article said you're the most dangerous black gay man in America. I know I'm not quoting it correctly. But also, they labeled you as the gay Malcolm X.
Right.
Well, why you? I mean, they call you the gay Malcolm X. I mean, I'm just saying, like they got all these names and monikers for you. I'm just saying, it's very fascinating.
It's funny to me, but the bottom line is that, as you know, as I believe you know from what I get from you, you know that we live in a white supremacist soup. We live in a completely white supremacist construct and container. Mm-hmm. So everything that's being done and said, particularly that makes it to popular culture, is in protection of white supremacy and to keep it going. So what it does to keep itself going and keep itself central is it marginalizes or caricaturizes everything else as these other things so it can look like it's unstable, problematic, and a troublemaker. So when I'm called a so-called gay separatist, that's an ironic thing to call me. By the way, I don't call myself either of those things. Right. But that's an ironic thing to call me because what they're trying to call me gay because that's what white supremacy insists on calling homosexuals. And they didn't try to call me separatist because I don't buy into the whole gay construct. And I don't buy into white supremacy. And I'm telling black people to love themselves in their own image. In this instance, same-gender loving black people. And white supremacy doesn't like it. So even though white supremacy or the LGBT community is very racist and very separatist, I'm the one being called separatist because I don't kiss their ass. And when it comes to the Malcolm X thing, of course, that's just a cliche. I mean, Malcolm X is a cliche, particularly when it comes to the earlier part of his life, as being somebody who was anti-white, supposedly, and a perpetual hardcore critic of white supremacy. So that's why they throw the Malcolm X on me, but they put that gay, I almost cussed because I hate it so much. They put that gay label on it because that's a white supremacist frame of reference. Then they throw Malcolm X in there to make me constantly look like this radical blah, blah, blah. But I'm really just a calm, collective, intelligent person who don't like what he sees and spending most of his life trying to challenge it and trying to repair black people, including same-gender loving black people.
I guess
so
I'm sorry, Brother Manago.
No, I was just going to be redundant by saying, so when they start talking this gay Malcolm X and separatist crap, that's them. It has nothing to do with me.
Okay, fair enough. I know you can't control what people put out there, especially in this, climate. But also, I mean, when you introduced yourself on that Friday during that weekend when we met, I was very impressed with what you had to say about black behavior modification specialists. I mean, I know I probably get it wrong, but how you talking about, your work is to help modify, turn black self-hate into black self-love.
Absolutely.
And I actually, I'm going to be honest with you. When you spoke, I mean, I thought you had a great message. And my concern was by the end of the meeting session that weekend, did he have some other reasons for saying what he said? Did he misrepresent himself? And you wasn't there. To be fair to you, you wasn't there to, defend the accusations and whatnot.
Well, let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. Let's talk seriously. Let's very seriously and explicitly talk about that. Let's talk about this, whatever the hell this hidden agenda supposedly is, and blah blah blah. Because I want to talk about it because to me it's ridiculous. And in order for me to prove that it's ridiculous, we have to have a conversation about it. So what do you mean? I mean, I said what I said, and I was clear as a bell, and I spoke for my truth, and I just said what I had to say from the hip. I mean, I didn't have no planned speech. I spoke from my heart, which is easy for me. So what hidden agenda? Where did that even come from? And for you?
For me was the fact that when Brother A.L.L. brought up that he couldn't be a part of an organization that supports homosexuality or the homosexual agenda. I know on Friday he also spoke about, one thing that could unite black people all over the place, Pan-Africanists and black nationalists, was the agenda, the homosexual agenda within the black diaspora. Right. And that's something he said on Friday. I didn't know he was talking directly to, trying to, I don't know what his thing was.
Well, I didn't take it I was sitting right there. I didn't take it personally. It had nothing to do with me, so I heard him and went about my business. I didn't see you responding anyway, like you was taking it personally. I didn't see anything. Because I didn't.
But by the end of the meeting session, by the end of Saturday, when they got brought up because he said that he couldn't support this movement is about the agenda of homosexuality. That's when I started thinking. I said, was the brother about actually him, or did he want to recruit more people to becoming gay? That was my thought when I heard some of the things that people had to say.
So the bottom line is this. So we're not playing no games here. The bottom line is that you heard me speak on Friday. Right. You heard me say what I had to say, and then the next day you were influenced by Ayo.
Well, I was I'm trying to figure out, not necessarily influenced, but like you said, you about promoting critical thinking, correct? I mean, that's one of your things, being a critical thinker. So I was saying, I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? So he's saying all this stuff, and I'm saying, okay, that's anybody. Go ahead.
Don't ever trust, and you grown, you can do what you want to do, but don't ever trust somebody who can't say what the hell they got to say in the presence of the person. If they can't, I was there for 2 days. I mean, people keep talking this crap about you left early. Look, I was sitting 2 inches from AO for 2 days. I was right there, and there was plenty of time and space for him to raise his concerns while I was right there. And every time he said the word homosexuality, since now upon thinking back, you figure he was talking about me. Well, he could have said my name. I was sitting right there. There was no reason in the world for me to take anything that Oyo said personally, because it wasn't personal to me. It wasn't relevant to me. As a matter of fact, one of the things that he did say that I responded to when he said some stuff about people supposedly passing out DVDs in some place in Africa on homosexuality, well, my perspective, and I said it then, was, well, we shouldn't even tolerate nobody giving nothing to our kids that we don't approve. And that our communities are so dysfunctional and so in chaos that we can't control that. That's a problem. We need to work on that. And if somebody is passing out DVDs to children about homosexuality, I don't agree with that. And if I saw anybody doing that kind of crap, I would go off and I would do everything I could in my power to stop it. Because it ain't right. But AO didn't have the balls to bring this up in my presence in a way that was going to be conversational. So I can't control that either.
Well, to your credit, though, I would say this. When you wrote that long email, I really enjoyed reading the email in terms of you explaining yourself. And, it's trying to clear up some things. And, I read your email, read it several times. So I commend you for that, And my thing is, I guess with movement, I would love to have transparency because, our people have been traumatized by past movements where we have been betrayed. The people trust us have been betrayed, taken for granted. Folks that we thought were heroes were really pawns. I know another question is the fact that you are so successful in what you do in terms of building your organization. You have, been a great fundraiser for your causes. People's concern is, we are operating in the prism of white supremacy. Where is all this support coming from? Are these people the same folks that you rail against? Are they your supporters too? I mean, is it like a wrestling game?
Well, I always wind up giggling when I hear this stuff because y'all talking about me. And I'm sitting here breathing in and out, very healthy, and speak good English. Right. Now all you gotta do is ask me, and I'll tell you what the hell is going on. And what's so funny? What's so funny about the whole thing is that you can't even imagine the. I was getting ready to cuss again.
Go ahead. You go
the gosh darn hell.
I'm listening, bro.
Hold on. You would be amazed, particularly given the kind of, frankly, ignorant perspectives that A.L.L have when it comes to talking about me, often always behind my back. You would be amazed at what I've had to go through to exist. You would be amazed. Because if you have somebody who's spreading I was getting ready to cuss again, like a punk, spreading stuff behind my back, which is what punks do behind people's back, and you let that stuff be what informs you, you'll never get the truth. And the truth is that I'm a smart person who's a strategist to get things done that I need done. And it's been hell trying to do it because of my black affirming perspective. That's why they call me the so-called separatist and call me the so-called Malcolm X. That's what that means. If I was just this sellout secret spy crap, whatever the hell these people saying that outside of my face, they wouldn't be calling me that. When they call me dangerous, what do you think dangerous means? In a white supremacist, racist society, dangerous means pro-black. That's what happened to Cynthia McKinney.
Right.
That's what they dogged her. Now, Cynthia McKinney used to sit in Congress. There's probably people who have speculated about her getting in that position, but the sister was down, authentic, real, very concerned about us on a real level, and we were too busy poisoned by white supremacist skepticism to get behind her. Now she's no longer in Congress. So she was dangerous too. So the same kind of reason why she's called dangerous, frankly, is the same kind of reason I'm called dangerous. It's white supremacy considers anything that challenges it and that challenges it well and that gets other people around supporting the resistance to white supremacy dangerous.
Well, I think it's interesting for you when you say danger, I'm keep on getting thoughts in my mind. I said, my thing is, do you feel that you are a black leader? The reason why I say that is because you do have a relationship with Farrakhan or the Nation of Islam, and you have one with A.L.L, the National Action Network. I'm looking at the video you did. I haven't got through it all, but I really enjoyed this documentary you did that y'all had that meeting in summer 2011 in Harlem.
Right.
Yeah, got together. I've just been looking through it because you got so much information out here. And like you said, if people really want to know the truth, they can either holler at you, you're accessible, or they can go online and look at some of the stuff you put out, to defend your own platform or to articulate your philosophy. So once again, are you a black leader, yes or no?
Am I what?
A black leader.
I guess. I hate to sound so. I hate to sound so weird or whatever, but I guess so. I mean, I'm just doing. When I get ready to get up in the morning and go have breakfast, I don't consider myself the leader of breakfast. I'm going to have breakfast. So when I get up in the morning to go do work against this contamination of humanity called white supremacy, and I'm focused on it like a laser beam, I don't get up in the morning going, here comes the leader to go do whatever. I'm just doing what I believe in. And then I turn around and see, what I've done or whatever and look at it and go, that's interesting. But I don't think about it. I don't analyze myself like that. Now, when people call me a black leader or whatever, that's interesting, but some of these terms are so nebulous. Because Clarence Thomas is a black leader too. And so is Colin Powell, a black leader, and so was Condoleezza, whatever her name is. And see, I don't like my name. I don't like my name being associated with people like that. I like to control my own press. I know I can't all the time, but I can dream, and I also can invite people to call me. Like that letter that you mentioned that I wrote, I put my name and address, my phone. I made sure people could contact me. Mm-hmm. That's my style. But I don't know. I'm Cleo Manago. What I call myself is a social architect on behalf of the repair of black people in the world. Now, if that's a black leader, then I guess I'm that, among other things.
Oh, fair enough. But also, I like the fact that even though that meeting, like when you left 2 hours early, like you said, that people still was like, that was really a hot topic. That we still got this issue with gender roles and sexuality within the community. But historically speaking, we look at all these anniversaries coming up this year with the March on Washington and whatnot. Was it not a gay black man who organized the March on Washington that was the major strategist behind that?
Well, pardon me again for being literal, and of course I know what you're talking about, but the word gay, white folks and white homosexuals had not politicized and institutionalized the word gay until 1969 and almost the 70s. So before anything that happened before that, and frankly among black people for several decades after that, because white folks came up with this gay paradigm, but being literal, Bayard Rustin or James Baldwin and others, they would not have called themselves gay. They would have been homosexual, likely.
Okay.
So back in the day during the March on Washington, gay had not become politicized as a identity at that point. But yes, the same gender-loving man named Bayard Rustin was an architect of the March on Washington. Now, Bayard Rustin had some issues, though. So I'm a critique of Bayard Rustin more than I am just a pure supporter. But yes, he was the same gender-loving man.
And also, not that, like even with the black church, they had the fact that he was connected to Dr. King and A.L.L. Randolph, who was also a son of a minister who grew up in the black church, and he also helped organize the SCLC. I think it's fascinating that we still have these issues with the sexuality issue. If you got a person like that did that type of work.
But see, I hope this comes up tomorrow, and because it's better to have these conversations when there's people that think they have a different perspective. But let me just say this.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about sexuality right now because black folks have some challenges around the existence of same-gender-loving people. And ironically, the reasons why we have those challenges are connected to two sources, neither of which are African. One is the King James Christian Bible, and the Victorian era influence, which was anti-sexuality, period, with chastity belts and all kinds of crap that white folks brought into the black experience with their issues and their neuroses around sex. We're influenced by whatever white folks are, like you heard before. When they get the cold, we get the flu.
Right.
Because we are in the midst of their stuff. So that's one of the reasons. That's one of the issues where homosexuality is dealt with strangely because of Euro-Christianity. The other place that is dealt with strange is that black men in this country have been the focused, absolute target of white supremacy more than anybody. Women, Asians, black men are in the center of the what do you call those things that you shoot an arrow at?
Bow.
Whatever that thing is, we're in the center of it. I forgot what it's called right now.
The target.
Yeah, target. We are black men are the primary target of white supremacy. Period. So as a result of being the target of white supremacy, particularly during the chattel slavery period and for some decades after that, they have been destroying black male capacity, interrupting black capacity to be a man and to be responsible and to be strong and present in their community. And as a result of the perpetual castration of black men, physical, legal, psychological, we're very defensive. That's why brothers be walking hard, talking all that stuff, and what I call black male, industrial strength black man drag. And that's why we be walking hard and doing all this kind of stuff, because that's compensatory behavior in response to severe abuse and severe indoctrination and attack. So we're very defensive around our manhood. According to King James and according to the Roman Greco image of manhood that most black men in this country, when you go into the gym and all that kind of stuff, that's Roman Greco stuff. Africa, they ain't got nothing to do with Africa. Gyms did not come out of Africa. That came out of Europe. So we do all this man aesthetic stuff that we're doing that we got from white folks, one of the things that we have been told is that it's important to be a man since we didn't get a chance to be one for so many years. And homosexuality, particularly feminine men, is considered a sacrilegious in the midst of black men's desperation to be a man, considering all that we've gone through. So that reactionary perspective to homosexuality has interrupted our community's capacity to just straight up have a conversation. Even A.L. couldn't have the conversation. He only could talk stuff behind my back, but he could not have the conversation. I was there. One of the things that I said, if you look at the tape, was we need to talk. Remember I said that?
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
That's what I was talking about. We need to talk in each other's face. But anyway, getting back to the issue that I'm raising in terms of the reaction to homosexuality, that's what's going on. A lot of brothers want to be men desperately, and as far as they're concerned, faggot and punk, two white words, don't fit into that. And so we're so hypersensitive about what white people are going to think, and we have been culturally conditioned to be worried about retribution. So we're defensive and dysfunctional. As a result of all that stuff, the black community has not had a conversation about a lot of stuff that we need to be talking about to unify us, including sexuality, including that there's feminine men, masculine women, all kinds of ways that God has done some stuff that we have not been able to grapple with because of internalized white supremacy. I mean, it's 2013, and if everybody's supposed to be so bad and so strong and so this and that, how come the black community, former enslaved Africans, have not had a rational conversation about homosexuality yet on a collective basis? Because we're scared. That's why. Because we don't know what to do with that topic. And we've heard bad things from Queen Victoria and King James and people that really run out of consciousness while we claiming to be black nationalists. Because if we were really African, we would have a conversation about our diversity. We would just be courageous about it, go on and have the conversation, and say what we think we feel. And I'm being literal when I say what we think we feel, because a lot of our perspectives on homosexuality are not based on a long-standing conversation or a long-standing engagement and a long-standing interaction or engagement of the issue. I mean, how many times do you know of in your life where the black community had a rational discussion on this issue? That's not a rhetorical question.
Not necessarily rational, but now, it's never like when people sitting around and actually, we agree to disagree. We should respect each other's point of view. No.
Exactly, and that's my point. And it is 2013. That's because our community, about all kinds of things. I mean, one of the most ridiculous things, and I'll shut up so you can get a word in edgewise, but one of the most ridiculous things that I keep hearing from these black nationalists is this ridiculous and hypocritical synthesizing of homosexuality with pedophilia. Mm-hmm. That is so insane, because anybody who knows what they're talking about and who does any real research on pedophilia, and it's easy to find. It ain't like you got to go, particularly with the internet, but it ain't. You can go to any library. Most pedophilic rape is heterosexual by a long shot. Mm-hmm. Now there are definitely men, crazy men, who rape boys. Yes, and I don't condone it. I would not sit comfortably in the midst of it. I would have to get up and react to it, just like I would react to somebody giving DVDs to our children. I would not sit complacently in the midst of that. I would have to do something. And I'm against rape, period. But it's a ridiculous, crazy stretch to associate pedophilia to homosexuality. It just don't make no sense. I have never in my life, and I know very few brothers in the same way, had any interest in a child at all, period. I mean, it's just not part of my frame of reference or how I think. And it don't make no sense. It's a mythological, self-serving perspective that these people who are trying to disassociate themselves from homosexuality through all this drama keep on creating, and it has no backup. It's just a reactionary opinion that's mythological, and I mean, I would love to have a conversation with A.L. in public. I would never speak to him privately, but on public, because he would be in trouble, because his whole premise is like, give me a break, man. Give me a break.
Well, this thing, we talk about the white supremacy thing and whatnot, and people issues with about homosexual, same-gender loving people adopting black kids. Are you against white couples, same-gender loving white couples, or homosexuals adopting black kids?
Okay, if you want to use the word against.
Yeah, are you against?
Let me be clear. I am against, and I have a problem with that word, and I'm gonna make it. I hope I can make it clear because it's not as simple as your question.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with white people adopting black people. Okay, period. I don't like that. I don't like that Brad Pitt and or whoever these other people are. I don't. But see, like I said, there's some complexity here because what I also don't like equally are the dysfunctional, chaotic black circumstances that keep leading to all these foster kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I don't like more than I don't like that. But no, I don't like the phenomena of black babies being in foster kids and being abandoned and being left to be picked up by white folks. Period, regardless of their sexuality. No, I don't like it. I don't agree with it. Now, see, some people keep on trying to put this in a homosexual container because they have homosexual reactionary issues. But it goes beyond that. See, focus on homosexuals adopting black children. Do that if you want to. But see, what I want to focus on is resolving the conditions that keep on creating foster children. That's what I meant by looking at repairing the black culture and black people and black community, because when we work on that and become obsessively compulsive on that, then there'll be less foster children for anybody to adopt. That's my perspective. And when I see, getting back to your main question, which is bigger, which is not as large as my whole perspective on this,
right.
When I hear about some white men adopting black kids, oh man, I don't think you're going to meet nobody more upset about that than me. It'll be very hard. I think I would win the upset contest.
Right. Well, they say you're the most dangerous or the most angry man, I guess. I don't know. they say all kinds of stuff. They say stuff like that. I see you either angry, you're dangerous, you this or that, but you're just being who you are, and I respect that immensely. And you making yourself known and you making it transparent. I can't say that for everybody, but like as I'm talking to you, do you feel, just considering what went on since from this meeting and all this stuff leading up to now, I do feel now that we are our own worst enemies as black people. Because I feel like we're just marginalizing ourselves more so than they are marginalizing us in terms of we not working together or trying to collaborate. Because if you got all these resources over here, if you got all these connections, and we all share the agenda about we're trying to save black people, liberate black folks, and help us love ourselves, then how come some of us just can't get together and just say that's it's bigger than our egos and bigger than our personal points of views. We got to save our people. What is stopping us from doing that?
Well, I think there's at least two sources of that. There's probably more, but one is the successful contamination of black common sense by white supremacy, the successful contamination of black people's impulses for we won't even think as a norm to protect ourselves and defend ourselves. Most of us have been trained because we were enslaved for a few hundred days to defend whiteness and to protect whiteness and to sabotage anything, and this is unconscious, man. This ain't all conscious. A lot of us are unconscious black community saboteurs. We don't even know it, because the water we drink, the air we breathe, the TV we watch, which is one of the biggest poisoners, is all white supremacist, white affirming, and anti-black. This is an anti-black society that we live in, period. And all black people, if it wasn't for the contamination, would be in revolt. But we are trained like dogs over 400 years to be watchdogs to white supremacy, and we don't know it. So that's one of the reasons why we can't come together and work with each other, because we're constantly creating suspicion. I'm sure you've heard of Uncle Ruckus, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Uncle Ruckus is a brilliant metaphor for most black people's unconscious. So that's one of the problems. The other issue is just simple human competitiveness. Unfortunately, we can be very competitive and crazy, and frankly, one of the central approaches to competitiveness that we have is cowardliness and being sneaky. And what I mean by that is that a lot of us are so uncourageous in our competitiveness that when we have an issue with the other person, we can't even tell them. We'd rather whisper, he's like that, and that's cowardly competitive behavior, which comes from people who are afraid. And one of the side effects of white supremacy is terror. We've been terrorized, particularly black men. We're still terrorized right now. Right this minute, we're terrorized. I mean, even at that, well, I don't want to talk too much more about that meeting because I think that meeting is sacred and we want to protect it and we want to, well, anyway, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but the point I'm trying to make to you is that like I said in my letter that you read, I am a facilitator of functional behavior among black people. I'm a facilitator of bringing together people of differences and creating the space for clear dialogue across our diversity so we can become loyal to the larger goal, which is countering the contamination of white supremacy on our consciousness and saving black people. So you think it's frustrating to you when you hear about this, this separateness stuff. It's very frustrating to me because I've done all kinds of stuff in my career that I've created perfect opportunities for the black collective to advance in my local community, and people were saying, "Oh, he got that money. All this crazy stuff instead of coming and talk to me, because only Helen Keller and Ray Charles can talk to me and not get who I am. You got to be deaf, dumb, and blind and not get who I am if you actually engage me. But hey, we are paranoid, and unfortunately, we have a right to be paranoid. But we got to get past it, because all those infiltrators that you referenced earlier that have come into our community, they were easy to recognize if we would have just looked. I invite people to investigate me, but don't be talking to me through no white supremacist article calling me gay Malcolm X, or through some stuff through them calling me a separate. I don't got nothing to do with that. I can't do. Don't come to me framing me based on what some white supremacists then said. That's ridiculous, and it's a contradiction if you're supposedly a black nationalist. Why you like? Don't be calling me gay. When I tell you don't call me gay, do not. I was getting ready to cuss again.
Right.
Do not freaking call me gay. I resent it. I'm not aligned with that community and that movement at all. And I'm not with it. And I done told you, I'm not talking about you personally, but whoever listening, right. I done told you don't call me that. Because I'm not with it. And that's why I'm called dangerous by them. The writing is right there on the wall or on the internet, wherever the hell you find the article. They don't like me. I don't care. But they don't like Cleo Manago.
Well, it don't matter what they don't like, as long as you love yourself.
Exactly. Well, hey, I can care less. I can care less what they feel, whether they like me or not. Them liking me or not liking me is 100% irrelevant to me. I'm just saying to you that it's ironic that black nationalists will come at me using their voices to attack me. It's like, are you a black nationalist or not? Why are you going to white folks to attack me? That's my point. You go to people who don't even like me because I'm black, and you're a black nationalist and using their frame of reference to attack me. The gay Malcolm X. I mean, that's ISA kept on focusing on my man. Look, I don't got nothing to do with that. How many times I got to tell you?
It's like LeBron James, right? It's like LeBron James said he didn't call himself King James. They called him King James. The media.
Who said that?
Like LeBron James. He didn't come up with that moniker King James. Exactly. Right. I know you're saying. That's a great example, because LeBron James was not sitting in this house hollering King James. I wouldn't want to be King James, be honest, but yeah, to be known by it. Yeah, I understand that. But he woke up one morning and some white folks had a new name for him and labeled it all over the place. Just like what they started calling Michael Jackson Wacko Jacko. Right. He didn't come up with that. If he was in control of everything, he would have totally eliminated that saying. But when Michael Jackson dipped his foot into the pond of counter-white supremacy, they were after him, and they finally got him. Yeah, but he did. He was, from what I understand, he was feeding stories at first to the tabloids or to the media people to keep his name out there, but it backfired. But not Wacko Jacko. Not Wacko Jacko. They came up with that. I'm saying in terms of all this other eccentric stuff, that they. Right. Well, that's another thing. Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. I'm talking about things that you're called that you don't approve, like King James, Wacko Jacko, and the gay Malcolm X.
Mm.
I mean, I don't mind a little press because it helps to bring some attention to the work I'm doing and the movement that I'm a part of. But I'm not with the gay nothing. When you talking about Cleo Manago and put gay at the beginning of it, I'm offended.
Mm.
Because I didn't told you, and I don't mean just you, but people.
No, hey, I'm not taking it personal.
I'm not, I'm not with that, and it's easy. I mean, I'm on video, on all kinds of shit. Excuse me,
right.
stuff.
No, you're okay. Mm-hmm.
Very, very clear, saying, look, I'm not. Hey, black folks. I think it's a big, huge mistake for black people who are same-gender loving to go to identify as gay and get caught up in that racist culture. But I understand the unfortunate reason why they do it, because they've had a hard time getting love and nurturance and acknowledgement from in their own community. So they become sitting ducks to be white supremacist soldiers.
Mm. And
we have to fix that. That's our job. They should want their mothers and fathers' love. They should want their mothers and fathers' attention and assurance. It's natural, but they're not getting it. So they go into the LGBTXYZ, whatever they call themselves, community, and because they're human, they want love, they want affinity and affirmation. All human beings do. And if black people, and if black people stop acting the fool and going through all this manhood and security crap that's leading this anti-homosexual charade, we can have our family back together. Because ain't nothing more powerful than a mad homosexual, let me tell you.
Okay.
You ever heard of J. Edgar Hoover?
Mm-hmm.
J. Edgar Hoover was the same. Well, he was a gay. I call white folks gay. He was a gay homosexual, baby. He did not play when it came to defending white folks.
Mm-hmm.
You know this, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
He compromised Martin, Malcolm, and Marcus, Malcolm, and all three of the M's.
Right.
Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and Marcus Garvey.
And Medgar Evers too, I guess.
That's right. That's right. So he was a soldier, despite his homosexuality, whatever the hell is going on. Him, Roy Cohn, all kinds of white folks, Alexander the Great, all kinds of homosexual white folks were looking out for their own. And when it comes to being a soldier on behalf of black folks, brother, you on the phone with one who don't play.
Mm.
When it comes to affirming and looking out for my people, I don't play. So any fool, and I'm using the word fool on purpose. Any fool that's trying, I'm talking about the black fool. Any black fool that's trying to compromise me or throw my character into question or accuse me of some crap about a hidden agenda, that's a fool. Only a fool would try to compromise a soldier that's on their behalf. That's a fool. And even though the white supremacy, who's very anti-homosexual, by the way, and we can go into that later if you want, but though there's elements among white supremacy that are brutally anti-homosexual, they left J. Edgar Hoover the hell alone because he was a good soldier for their agenda.
Well, you know what's something about J. Edgar Hoover, though, where people talk about a lot, the fact that he might have been black, a light-skinned black person. So he could have, not only was he a good, white gay supremacist, but also he was a self-hating black person, possibly.
Well, that's very possible. I mean, that's not unusual. I mean, self-hating black folks is kind of like saying, water in the ocean in America. Mm-hmm. It's a normal part of the backdrop. How could it not be? Everything at the academy, the media, law enforcement, the educational, everything is drenched in white supremacy. So. And there's a lot of black people, as I mentioned earlier, just to get back to the point of sexuality, I'm being redundant on purpose. Right. A lot of same-gender-loving black people have become ingenious anti-black people.
Mm.
You ever heard of, I don't know if I want to say any names, but I'll because there's a brother in Washington, D.C., who is in the Republican Party, who was under investigation some years ago for sexual harassment by another man, who is hardcore anti-black cultural and political issues who's very mad at black people, and you've heard of him. There's another brother who white people just throw money at and who they just love, who ain't even that bright, but he's willing to be anti-black. So they gave him radio shows, they gave him a TV show, and doing all kinds of stuff for him that they wouldn't do otherwise because he's very focused on being anti-black. He and I were on a talk show on BET talking about whether the criminal justice system was racist or not, and I said it was, and he said it wasn't. And he couldn't even, in his perspective on that, it was weak. But white people kept him in the public eye because they keep black people in the public eye who are anti-black. You know that.
Wow, man. You get a lot of information, man. Like the time flew by, but I don't want to hold you. But can you tell? Let me ask you this though. It's something that was concerning me since we met. It was a sacred meeting because there was a lot of powerful energy in that room of all those giants and all those great, people. We was out there. It seems our agenda was, how can we liberate our people? How can we uplift our people and take our people to the next level in the movement? And my concern, as the weeks go by, was the lack of presence of young people. And, in any movement, you got to have some young foot soldiers, and you have the elders, give them the marching orders or whatever, help them with the ideology, but there got to be some young people involved in the movement. And you talk about the family, the dysfunctionality of the black family. Like, we don't eat together a lot of times, but we're not including the children. Where are the children?
Yep.
That's my concern.
Yep, and that's why we are in trouble. We can fix it. I mean, this is all a human conflict, so human conflicts can be fixed because human beings did it and it can be undone. And that we're not engaging our children is creating chaos on terms of creating soldiers on behalf of black survival in a white supremacist context. But we have to put that in context, too, in terms of why that's occurring. As I'm sure you know, there's children having children. And there's underdeveloped people, black people I'm talking about, who had sex and a child jumped out. They were not prepared to be a parent. And some of them have the baby and kind of almost rebel against having it for the first important years of his life, therefore not giving it the kind of attention it deserves because it was not a love child. And a lot of these children are not love children. They're I had sex children.
Right. And
the black community has been so contaminated by the strong interest in assimilation, which implies a white is better and white is superior, so we need to assimilate and do that. All this white chasing has left black folks behind. So we have to find a way to, and there are ways. I mean, my work is full of lots of methods to bring black folks together. I'm telling you, I'm not BSing you or just talking smack to you. There's more we can talk about that gets beyond the sexuality obsession that people have. That's really about black problem solving. But we are in trouble, man. As a people, we are in trouble. It can be fixed because black people, no matter how crazy we've been run, like all human beings, on an essential level, still have some value for ourselves as black human beings. It's there. But it has to be tapped into, and we have a lot of neuroses to get through, to get to the core of problem solving. Just like at that meeting that we was at in Atlanta, Daruba, is that his name? Daruba?
Yeah, Daruba, yeah.
Daruba was so crystal clear. I mean, almost every time he opened up his mouth, there was absolute clarity there, and there was a recipe there that we should just jumped on. But egos and everybody wants to bring in their part, and we should all bring in our parts. But we need to allow clarity to be our focus. And I saw him getting frustrated because he kept on. I mean, one of the things that he said along with the other brother that was with him was that our problem was us. Remember he said that? Mm-hmm. And I don't completely agree with that. I think that that's a partly problematic analysis because the us that's problematic are not independently chaotic. We've been made chaotic by an external, by external forces. So it's not just us. It's us in relationship to white supremacy. But all these issues that we're dealing with as a people are all resolvable. There's so many, even as American citizens, despite our resistance and our rational resistance to white supremacy, which is one of the reasons, for example, in terms of what I'm saying, that the likes of Cynthia McKinney can get into Congress. Mm-hmm. There are systems in place that we could take advantage of as a collective and win. Mm. And win. We could change. We could, if we collectively got together, we could demand educational reform in this country, demand and get what we wanted, because countering us would be blatantly racist. We collectively got together and said, look, education cannot leave out the affirmation of people of African descent from Africa on into the Americas. Mm. That has to be a mandatory part of the learning process. We could demand that and get that if we were unified. Mm. We could demand that only high quality groceries, vegetables and fruits and stuff are allowed in our communities, or else you can't come in our communities. You can't sit up your Ralph's or Kroger's, or you can't do it. Now, unless you give us the top of the notch, we could demand it and get it. Mm-hmm. We could demand that health systems reverse the outcome of black chaos because of white supremacy, with all these babies having babies. We could create we could demand a reparative system that stops children from having children who aren't ready to have children, and develop themselves first so they can be a real parent. We could demand that and get it. Mm. You're talking to somebody who has used these systems and gotten some things that I wanted to get, but I didn't have the black community backup to keep it.
So how do you not become bitter or hateful of the black community for not supporting you in some of your initiatives? How do you... Man,
did you ask me how did I not become bitter of the black community?
Yeah.
Pardon me for laughing. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
Man, look, it's really, for me, it's really simple. Black people ain't crazy because the sky is blue. Mm-hmm. Black people have been ran crazy. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing, including that madness that happened out of my presence at the meeting in Atlanta. Don't nothing surprise me. I didn't see it all. So I am not bitter. I love my people. I don't even have the words to describe the love and concern I have for my people because I love me. I mean you and me. We're Africans. We're people of African descent. We are all equally at risk to the wrath of white supremacy and have been equally victimized. So when I see crazy black people, which I see every day because it ain't hard to see and find, mm-hmm. I put it in context. And because it's in context, I don't get bitter. Now, my feelings get hurt. I definitely have gone in the corner and cried and been very sad, heartbroken, and disappointed by stuff, and expect that to happen again because the white supremacy's wrath is not at low levels. It's at high levels. But I have to, and I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, but I have to eat.
Right.
Even if I don't like the food all the time, I have to eat. That's something I have to do. I have to be involved in solution-based behavior for black people. I have no choice. So I don't waste my time sitting around being immobilized by black insanity.
Being immobilized by black insanity.
Yeah.
I feel that. Yeah.
I don't get immobilized by. Matter of fact, even what happened in Atlanta, like I said, hey, come on with it. Come on with it. What you got something to say? I get amped. Because and let me tell you why I get amped. It's not no male ego insecure crap. It is, okay, great. Here's an opportunity to bring some clarity. Mm-hmm. Here's the opportunity to get beyond the rumor bullshit. I can't think of a nice poetic word, but other than bullshit. Here's an opportunity to get beyond the bullshit and actually be right there in the presence of perspectives and concerns and agendas and hidden ideas and all this kind of crap and address it. Because when I get finished in addressing it, some problems going to be solved. That's how I got a chance to work with these other kind of people. Because when they were hollering faggot and punk, I was sitting there with, okay, what are you talking about? And why are you saying that? What's going on with that? And is your reaction based on what you know or what you believe or what you fear? And frankly, most of the reaction to homosexuality that happen among black men is based on fear. Because we've been. Can I cuss?
No, it's okay. Yeah, you could curse. Yeah.
Okay, good. We've been fucked by this system for hundreds of years, and you want me to accept being literally fucked as a man? Now, frankly, I'm not asking nobody to get fucked. Let me be real clear.
Okay.
That's not my agenda. I'm just telling you what happens in the midst of the dysfunctional, terror-feared, paranoid mind.
Mm-hmm.
In the terror-feared, paranoid mind, that's what I'm doing. In the terror-feared, paranoid mind, I'm the secret person who's secretly spreading homosexuality. That's fucking, man, that's insane. We must think black people are really, 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 really weak that you could sit next to them and they become a homosexual in 5 minutes. I mean, give me a break. I've been the same gender-loving person all of my life, and I've been going through some kind of hell for being a black male all of my life, and I faced struggles as a thinking person who did not go into some type of escape hatch in my psyche through drugs. I've never been high or drunk in my entire life. I've been fully present the whole time. And I would never have volunteered, I don't think, to deal with the wrath and the passive-aggressive behavior that same gender people go through. I wouldn't volunteer for that. Just like I don't think nobody who was an enslaved African back in the day, though I think was still enslaved, frankly, but somebody who was blatantly enslaved, I don't think they would have volunteered for that. But that's what happened. So why would I volunteer to add a new problem in terms of the society's isms and oppression onto my? I mean, give me a break. I'm who I am, and humanity has all kinds of human beings. They're not all wannabe black nationalists who are defensively crazy. We're all kinds of people. The human possibilities are endless, but we're caught up because of King James. Mm-hmm. And the Pope. They have really disrupted our common sense and our ability to just think straight. We're tripping.
You know what?
I mean, the whole. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I would say, like in the words of Brother DeRuba also said, it's not about uniformity; it's about unity. And I think some of the stuff you're talking about is raised that address that point well too. But go ahead.
Well, it's about problem solving, man. It's about black problem solving. I mean, Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see that we're under attack. Mm-hmm. And we got some of the most brilliant minds that the earth has ever seen right now, and we always do. Mm-hmm. But we're poisoned, and we need to purge. Mm. We need to purge and stop tripping. I mean, it's really that simple. We're poisoned. We're contaminated, and we need to get uncontaminated, and we can. We have all these distractions. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. Oh, I mean, when I hear these, when I was on the radio the other day and hearing some of the perspective of the person that I was on the radio with, Isa, I was like, I mean, you heard the show, right?
Yeah, I heard. So Dr. Issa, yeah, I heard that show. I really enjoyed it. Very interesting.
Well, when you get a chance, listen to it again, so you can hear with your own ears what I'm getting ready to say. Okay. Near the end of the show, the host asked me to give some final words and about what I thought was important and what my agenda was, and I said it. Mm-hmm. Then Isa was asked to repeat what I said. Listen to that part of the show again.
Okay.
Because you're gonna hear with your own ears insanity, and I'm making no bones about it. Because I said what I said, and you get back to me. I want you to listen to that, because I said what I said, and then he called himself interpreting what I said, and even the white folks who I didn't know were going to be on the damn show, but even the white folks who were on the show were like, where the hell did he get that from? Mm. Because Issa was so caught up, and he is so defensively caught up in his defensiveness and his perspective of this issue, he can't even hear me. And I hope tomorrow we can actually hear each other. Because that part of the show was made it real clear. This brother ain't listening. He wants so bad for me to be some gay salesman, or some SGL salesman, if you will, since they're disrespectfully attempting to use that terminology. He wants so bad for me to be some closet, clever, white gay strategy against black people. And that's not, man, it would be difficult to get more ridiculous than that. And if people got past,
Oh, listen, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, just if people got past those kind of biases, there's some work that we can do.
Well, you know what, brother? There's a lot of interest in the show tomorrow, Brother Manago. I look forward to hearing from people, out in the community, because I know I got emails from folks saying it's about time somebody address these things. We need to talk about this. And from diverse backgrounds. These not just, everybody's not a black nationalist. Everybody's not, LGBT for life. No, these are just people in the community that need a forum or some place they can go that can actually talk, real talk and speak truth to power. And I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, it's open to anybody to discuss, but y'all, I call y'all sparring partners. Y'all sparring each other. But this is very inspiring debate because really, I don't think I would have had the insight to actually come up with a topic like this to discuss if it wasn't for you all showing this type of passion about this subject matter. I mean, it's very inspiring. It's very inspiring, man. I just want people to see for themselves. Like I said, the same gender loving thing. They actually attribute that term to you, but you're saying you didn't coin that phrase.
No, I didn't say I didn't coin it. I never said.
Okay, okay, all right.
No, what I said was, don't be calling me gay. That's what I said. Don't be calling
me gay. I got you.
Yeah, okay. I didn't say I didn't coin SGL. I personally, it's hard to talk about that on the air, but I'm gonna do my best. I don't want SGL or any of my work to be about me. Mm-hmm. Because that's how they stop movements is they character assassinate or literally assassinate the source so everything can stop. Mm-hmm. So I don't want SGL and its manifestation to be focused on me. It ain't about me. It's a problem-solving agenda. Its intent is to get same-gender-loving black people to have a black frame of reference for who they are as opposed to a white one, which is what gay is. And it's a way of affirming us as a part of the black collective in ways that are healthier and that came from us. Because gay didn't. Lesbian, all that kind of stuff did not come from us, and it doesn't affirm us as black people. And it's part of, along with the black invisibility issue and the black ignoring of us, between both parties, we've been ran crazy. So my goal with SGL is to create a safety zone to be black in terms of who we are.
Okay, that's fair enough. And Brother Manago, how could people get in touch with you and find out more about your organization and what your philosophy is about?
Well, they can email me at Cleo Manago, that's CleoManago @gmail.com. They can also call us at, what's the number? We have an 800 number, but I don't know the 800 number by heart, so I'll just give them this number at 404-380-1146.
Well, Brother Manago, I want to thank you enough for sharing, taking the time to share your philosophy and also yourself with our audience. So, I'm all about, circulating to educate, to liberate, and not indoctrinate. So I appreciate all the things you are doing on behalf of the liberation of black folks. In the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly, and I look forward to continuing the conversation again.
No problem, bro. I'm here to serve my community. No problem.
Thanks so much, man. Take care.
You're very welcome. You take care. Bye.
Yes, sir.